We've started the recording and welcome to the webinar. And I'm going to kick it off right with Kenneth Larson to do all the introductions and start the show. So,
Yeah,
Kenneth.
thanks. Yeah, thank you all for joining us. As you can see, the title of today's webinar is Instructional Design and the Cloak of Invisibility, a tale of intention hidden in plain sight. And so I'm really excited. We have some folks from UTA here who are going to talk about how, they're using both the tools that we provide from City Labs as well as the Quality Matters standards to achieve some really cool things. And I always love seeing the fun things that people are doing. I am the vice president of I don't ever know what my title is. I'm the chief instructional designer, co-founder of City Labs, and we'll talk a little bit more about City Labs here in just a moment. But Jess and then Sarah, do you mind taking just a moment to introduce yourselves?
Yeah, hi, I'm Jess. I'm an instructional designer at the University of Texas at Arlington, and I've been there for about 2 years now. And I also have about a decade of experience teaching online courses. So I'm excited to talk to you guys today.
And hi, my name is Sarah Siraj. I'm the instructional design manager at UTA with the Center for Distance Education. And I've been with UTA for, gosh, you stop counting after 10 years, somewhere after 10 years. And we have a great team of instructional designers that we will be talking about here shortly, as well as more information about UTA and how we specifically use City Lab.
Great. So just kind of a quick look at the agenda. We're going to give a little bit of background and context, between City Labs and Quality Matters and UTA. And then we're going to hand it off to our friends at UTA to kind of discuss how they're meeting these standards. And you can see there some of the points that they'll hit. We'll do some demos along the way. They're going to show some of the fun things they're using. I'll show some other fun things about the tools that come from City Labs. And then there's some goals there that you're welcome to read. If I start reading them, you're going to read them at the same time. So go ahead and take a look at those. And we're going to have a lot of fun today. So as far as the content that we're going to cover, and let me talk just a little bit about City Labs. So City Labs is a spin-out company out of Utah State University. We were started back in 2016 as a way to take in-house solutions to challenges that were encountered while working specifically with the Canvas learning management system. And then taking those in-house solutions and providing those and making those available to others. So kind of our flagship product, and the one that we'll see in today's webinar a bit, is Design Plus, which is kind of a must-have design tool set to help with creating nice, engaging, good-looking content in Canvas. We have tools to help scan course accessibility, cleaning up unused files in your Canvas courses. Ready-Go is for the teams that are responsible for making sure that courses, like groups of courses, are ready for students on day one of the term. Cityscape is a tool that we have that kind of pulls data from all of our other City Labs tools to let you see how they're being used and to gather some fun and interesting insights into your courses in Canvas. And then ObserveEd is a new one that we have just recently announced that is a way to grant some insight into student activities for those who you don't want to give admin permissions to or have to add them to Canvas courses. So this could be athletics, this could be, student success, diversity, there's lots of groups who need to kind of keep an eye on students, but it's kind of hard to get that data. So that's a fun new one that we have available as well. So that's a little bit about City Labs. Our goal really, though, is just to empower those who create courses and those who work with courses in Canvas to make those really impactful, provide them in an accessible way, and just make them engaging and fun for students. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to Jim to talk a little bit about Quality Matters.
Thanks, Kenneth. Yeah, just a quick little bit about Quality Matters. We're a global organization leading quality assurance in online and innovative digital teaching and learning environments. We provide a scalable quality assurance system for online and blended learning within and across organizations. And when you see the QM certification marks on courses or programs, it means they met QM course design standards or QM program review criteria in a rigorous review process. We have over 1,300 institutions in 30 plus countries used by higher ed, K-12, and other organizations that offer continuing education and professional development. We're a scalable process led by credentialed reviewers that's based on feedback and continuous improvement. QM certified courses are recognized as quality courses at the national level. And now I'm turning it over to Jessica and Sarah.
So UTA stands for University of Texas at Arlington. We are an R1 university with about 41,000 students, which makes it the second largest in the UT system. We started reviewing courses in using the QM rubric in 2014, and currently all new online courses go through the official review process with QM, but all online courses developed with the Center for Distance Education or with CDE, they get evaluated with the self-review rubric with Quality Matters. We try to internally review those courses in a format that mirrors the official QM review, where we have a faculty member review their own courses and two instructional designers in the team each review the course, one being the primary instructional designer and another instructional designer who've never seen the course before, using all the same self-review rubric. We have, as I mentioned, great team of instructional designer here at the Center for Distance Education. We currently have 4 full-time instructional designers and 4 part-time instructional designers, in addition to 2 awesome student assistant who are helping align with the instructional designer to help them with different tasks.
Yeah, so before we got too far into things, we just wanted to take a minute to make sure everybody knows what key action items are, because we're going to be talking about those a lot. So key action items are a Design Plus tool that can be used to make editor-only notes on Canvas pages. And these messages are only visible to people who can edit the page, so students can't see them. These are really great to provide instructions for what to update on a page, directions for how to update a page, give more details on the specific information you want instructors to include on the page, and even for providing notes about how to update the page, how updating the page will help the course meet Quality Matters standards. So I just wanted to show some examples here. So if we look at this last column in this table, it looks like there's nothing in it. But when we click on the green action items icon here, all of these colorful little messages pop up. And this table outlines the 7 different types of action items that they have, what each one does, and just generally how we use each of them, and what editor actions are available for each. And I think this kind of helps see the differences.
Could you increase the zoom on your browser there? We've had some people request that.
Yeah. So looking at them in this way is helpful, I think, because it helps see the differences between what each of these are. For example, instructions, notes, checklists, and suggestions all add some kind of a hidden block. But the one you want to pick probably depends on whether you'd want people to be able to check off items on a list, mark it as complete, or remove it altogether. And I've also included how we use these, but you might use them differently depending on what you're doing. For example, I put here that we use notes to add information about Quality Matters standards. But in other cases, we've used checklists or editor-only instructions in a block if the page already has those. So they can be used in a lot of different ways. And I'll talk a little bit more about this later, but for now, I just wanted to show what it looks like to actually go through and change them so you know what we mean when we say accept or reject these action items. Move you guys over there, make this window a little bigger again. But for instructions, if you click on the action item instructions in the sidebar, you can mark it as complete, remove it, or unwrap it, and unwrapping it just changes it to real text on the page. So we'll mark this one as complete, and then it has this little helpful completed tab there. And then for the note, you can remove it or unwrap it. So we'll unwrap that one and it just becomes real text on the page. And then for the instructions one, you can mark off individual tasks on the list or mark the whole thing as complete. And then for the input ones, you can add your own words here. And then these two blue ones are similar in that you can accept or reject them. So if you accept it, that text will just change and be visible on the page for both of these. So we'll accept the first one here, and then we'll say we don't want that one. And then the last one for removing, we don't use this one a lot, but it might be helpful if you're collaborating on pages. You can say if you want to remove or keep that red crossed out text. All right, so now that we've had a little crash course on key action items, let's talk about what we're doing in terms of using the City Labs tools and these key action items specifically to help us have good NQM certified courses. Okay, so there are basically 4 things that we do. So first we have a master template that gets pushed out to all of our Canvas courses. And this is great. And we'll show you what we do and how we added some flair to our existing template using City Labs. And then we learned more about key action items and we started putting them into our master template with links and directions to an instructor resource page. And this is an ongoing development as we get more familiar with all the options and gradually start integrating them into our live courses. Then these last 2 things have to do with how we applied these same 2 ideas into the courses that we submit for official QM review. So first, the key action items are used for instructional designers in our official QM review shells. And they've been super helpful so far in making sure we get essential information to our QM review teams. And then there's also a QM resource course for faculty that has different modules that go through the official QM review process and provide more information about that sort of thing for faculty.
So as Jess has mentioned, we have created a Canvas master template that we usually push into all Canvas courses every semester. When we first migrated from Blackboard into Canvas, we created this on the left-hand side, the before template, as you can see there. That before template had used to have a placeholder of text under the welcome page or section. And this was provided so instructors will go in and edit this supposedly with their information about welcome message to the course and etc. However, we have noticed that many instructors do not remove the placeholder text and therefore would be very obvious to students. And many students actually tend to skip that page altogether because they feel this page has not been updated. So what we did is instead we had updated and upgraded our template into what you see here on the right, the after. And in this, we actually have utilized the key action item, which hides that placeholder text. So students cannot see it and instead just keeps the information that is common in all the courses for, and more specifically for the master shell, unless it's not, and that way faculty or instructors can go in and edit that to meet specifically the organization of their menu and where to get started, etc. The overall, both the before and after was definitely inspired by QM rubric standard, but it had, the one before had a lot of HTML and CSS stuff that is not as accessible and made formatting a little bit difficult. So our updated version is easier actually to use and looks nicer, I think. And it helps to actually meet 33 quality matter standards or up to 80 points out of the 101 possible points. So we have integrated, I want to say about 31 of these points into the Getting Started module, which is the very first module that is available to students. And about 24 of these are in the module overview page. So we also pre-build a module overview template as well that could be copied multiple times, depends on how many modules you have in the course. And we also have these 5 learning material pages that 5 of these points can be addressed in the learning materials pages as well. Now, all this has been done very nicely in a sense where it requires minimal updates on the part of the instructor. For example, in the how to be successful in this course, we usually don't expect faculty to change much in there. Of course, they can go through it and read it, but we have this editor notes on the top. Again, this is only available to the instructor. And if they want to change anything, they are welcome to, but we try to keep it very general in a sense where it applies to all courses. Also about course technologies and where to get help. We try to keep this information inclusive of everything that we can think of in terms of technology and how to get help, unless there are specific technologies that are specific to that course where instructor need to go in and add the accessibility support and privacy information, then they can do so by editing this page. Otherwise, we try to think of all the tools that we use here at UTA and we support to include all the information there at once. I do have great news for you guys that I'm excited to share. For all those people who attended today, you'll have access to the after template, and you will be able to download that template with all the awesome 33 QM standards from the comments. If you search UTA course template copy, you'll be able to access it, download it. We do have, and we'll show you in more details here in a little bit, the different utilization of key action items in there and some of the future plans that we have. So I would say keep an eye on updates as well as we push more updates for that template. And I'll be posting actually the link there for you so you can easily access it.
All right, so that table that we just shared was helpful, and it did help us convince faculty to use our template. But we thought it would be even more helpful if we could somehow include this information on the pages of our template, and this is where the key action items came in. So Sarah mentioned that some of these pages required minimal updates from the instructor, but some of the pages required a few more updates on the instructor's end. So if we go to our home page here, we have a description of what should be updated and why it helps meet QM standards. So the action items on the home page say that it helps meet standard 1.1 because it gives a welcoming introduction and tells students how to navigate the course. And then we use a key action items checklist to tell faculty what to do to update the page so that it meets standard 1.1. Which includes adding things like that welcoming message, the name of the course, updating the banner image if they want, and checking to make sure that the course tour links at the bottom are all working and accurate for their course. And we have these on every page of our template. So on the About This Course page, we have another checklist of things instructors should add to the page and how adding that course description and other information about the course helps meet standard 1.2, and that including the prerequisites for the course also helps meet standard 1.7. And again, this all exists in that master course template that Sarah just shared. And then if you're wondering how instructors figure out how to navigate all of this, in our master template, we also have a page that's just for instructors that's normally unpublished in the course. And it just tells them how to do anything that we thought that they might have to possibly do when they go to build out their live courses. And so this resources page links to other things that instructors might need to do, like how to use key action items, copying another course, editing the Getting Started module, using template pages, adding their syllabus, and it even links to a whole other course that we have for faculty just about using Design Plus.
It would help if I unmute. So if you remember, Jess has shared that we used key action items in different ways. I've mentioned one, which is the template that get pushed to all courses. We also include in all courses, as we prepare them for the official QM review, we usually have a long list of things that we would like to include so we don't forget that we need to also bring into the phone call that we have during the pre-call with the committee. So what we have designed and decided to do is create a page that includes a summary, if you may call, or a list of items that are specific to that course that is being prepped for that official review. And what we did is, as you can see here on the top of the page and under the purple box, we have instructions for the instructional designer who's prepping the course on behalf of the faculty for the official QM review to go in and update this information that we try to include as many information as we have based on previous calls during our I guess 67 courses that have been officially reviewed as of now, that we get asked usually during the prep call or as we prepare those courses to include so we can make the life of those awesome committee who are reviewing our official courses to be able to answer those questions. So we instruct the instructional designers to go in and update this list here. And what we have noticed is, number one, that makes it very fast and quick for the instructional designer to go in and not miss any of the items. Number two, it makes it easier for them to go in and select, in some cases, just the correct statement that applies to that course. And if not, then at least add that statement if it's specific to that course. For an example, if you see that block where it says third-party tools, there is an editor only notes in orange for that instructional designer to delete any statement that are not relevant to, and add statements that are relevant but not already listed. In this case, Action Design has, number one, provided the list of information about third-party tool. And we also provided a note space for our instructions for IDs, as I mentioned, and made it easier and faster to choose which statement applies to that course that being prepped. So they can just easily go in and say, yes, your third party will be available for reviewers in this course. Same thing applies for syllabus and some of the other content there. And then the other use that we have utilized action items, key action items, is in a course that we've created called QM Review Course for Faculty, which is still an ongoing course that we're beefing up and making it better actually for both faculty and instructional designers. This is I would say a hub of information resources that we borrowed from Quality Matters, but we try to make it more relevant to how we apply Quality Matters at UTA specifically. And as you can see here on the right-hand side screenshot, one of the things that we have created is we have mimicked exactly what's in the self-review rubric, recreated it here. And I know this is not the topic of today's session, but let me just give an awesome thanks to Kenneth and City Lab, because we create this using the design tool. That's how we were able to have those tabs on the top for the general standard, and then all the tabs on the left for the specific general standards, the specific standards for that general standard. But also what we did is we documented in that space the self-review, pretty much coming from Quality Matters self-review rubric, examples, and how we use it or document it in our internal design process, just so we can continue to be consistent across all instructional designers. And sometimes specific to addressing some of the items already addressed in the template. So if they already have, and they have not deleted any items in the getting help and or technology, then they already met that. So this is check. This has been addressed. The way we are trying to use this is in mainly two ways. One is to keep consistent review process internally with the instructional designers for training purposes as we onboard new instructional designers and or part-time instructional designers as well as for faculty. And this is something that we plan on doing in the future that we have not done yet, is if you recall, Jess has shared in that master template that now everyone here has access to, we have those notes in the hidden action items that points out this by completing the getting started module or completing this page, you are addressing standard 1.7. We would like to hyperlink that 1.7 standard into this 1.7 here. So faculty, as they read those instructions, they can click on it, be directed to this page here without having to go and log into Quality Matters website self-review rubric, but rather come here and click on be transferred into another Canvas course, open a new tab. They're already logged into Canvas. So it's minimizing the clicks, and they get to see how we are evaluating the standards, how it's meeting Quality Matters standards, and that just build that transparency between us and the faculty to kind of be able to see how that is addressed. So this is an update that's hopefully will be coming. We have, as I said, the replicate of the self-review rubric built. But again, I just wanted to point out, this is also with a twist of specific to UTA and UTA policies integrated into meeting the Quality Matters standards. So you may adopt this to, if you like, to however you interpret those standards, and whether if you're going to be submitting those for official review, then you may want to add a statement there about it. But this is how we plan on using it.
All right, so now I just wanted to talk a little bit more about how we actually use these key action items and how easy it is to actually use them. So here we have a perfectly good Meet Your Instructor page. So we have the key action items that we started with at the top of the page here. So it says, if you add this information to the page, you'll help to meet standards 1.3, 1.8, and
Zoom in again, Jess, please.
Okay, so this is a perfectly good Meet Your Instructor page. So we have just this only key action item that we have right now is the one that describes how updating this page will help your course meet Quality Matters standards 1.3, 1.8, and 5.3. And these here are where Sarah was referencing, where we'd like to eventually link to those instructor resources where it has those example evidences that she was just mentioning. So I just am going to walk you through how to make a couple key action items. And then I'm going to show you the same page with key action items that were already added just for the sake of time. And then I'll show you how to go in and actually update them as the instructor would.
Hey, Jess, there's some requests if you could zoom in a little bit more on your browser.
Yeah, even more, sure.
Thank you.
So I'll just go into edit and we'll add some key action items to this page. Make this a little bit bigger right away. So instead of having this say, hi, I'm your name, let's have that be an input field. So when students come to see the page, they're only seeing, hi, or just hi, rather. So we'll go to add a new element, and then all of the key action items are at the bottom of the sidebar, so that's an easy way to find them. And we'll do the input option, so it'll be highlighted in yellow. And then let's say we want to add one for this short bio. So we'll make this first sentence also be an input key action item. So we'll do the same thing, go to the plus and add the input option. And then we don't want this to be on the page anyway. So let's make this, let's do a note this time so that they can look at the note while they're typing in their input for their bio. And you can just highlight it and click the action item and it'll show up in that note. And you can do the same thing for the email. And then if you have things that are usually the same for everyone or they're just picking and choosing, that's a good opportunity to use the suggestion or the insertion options. So we'll do that for the by appointment one. And then we'll do suggestions down here too. So maybe not every faculty will use announcements in that way. So we'll highlight that one and we'll make that suggestion text instead. So it only appears if they select it. And then we'll do the same for this one. And then you can just go through and add key action items for anything that would be true for most faculty, but maybe not all faculty, and give them the opportunity to figure out what they want to include in their page or not, and give them some placeholder text that aligns with the QM rubric and that they might want to include on their course page. So now let's just fast forward to a place where, let's say we already added all of our key action items. So here we have, that's the same amount of zoom, I think, right? So here it just says, hi, it's not hi, your name, like we had over here. And then we have no bio here and no contact information, which probably looks nicer if an instructor wasn't going to add anything to the course because you don't have students reading this placeholder text, which might be awkward and maybe even embarrassing. So let's check out what all of these action items are. So we added a lot here. Part of that's just for the sake of this demo, but so we tell them with instructions at the beginning how to update all of these things using key action items and where to find that button. We tell them the things that they should really do and the things that they could do if they wanted to or had time. We still have the same paragraph here about how updating this information will help their course meet Quality Matters standards. And then we also added a checklist here to tell them just like a recap overview of all of the things that they should be updating on this page. Then when we get down to the actual page, we can see that there's actually more directions here for how to add pictures and your name. So let's try editing some of those. You just go to edit like you normally would. And then when the sidebar opens, you can make this bigger again if you want. And scroll down to your first key action item. So we can put our input in this input field. So you can say, I'm Jeff. Then enter, and up here it'll say, hi, I'm Jess. And then the same thing would happen with this bio spot. And then the same you could do with your email and phone number. And then by appointment, yes, that's what I wanted to say. So I'll accept that one, and it takes away the blue highlight and adds it as real text to the page. And then down here, we added more directions about how they should edit the boilerplate information here. So if I'm a faculty member, I can say, oh, will I use announcements like that? And if I say yes, I will accept it and it'll become part of that little card there. And then I can also do the same for this. So if I plan on participating in the discussion, I can accept it. Otherwise, I could reject it. And then same thing here. So if I am going to commit to at least 3 times during the semester, I'm going to do grade engagement data and contact students. I'm not going to do that. I don't want to commit to it. So I'll reject that one and it just goes away. So we aren't saying that then. And that's just a quick snapshot overview of how the key action items work. And I'll click save so we can see all of those changes that I made without all those action items there. And I didn't add the bio, but you can see that all of these are here and they're real text. And I hope this was helpful for you. Kenneth, do you have anything else to add here?
No, I'll show something, another fun way to interact with those here in just a minute when I take over showing, and we'll talk just some more about some of the fun stuff that we can do. So if you'll go ahead and stop sharing, I'll take over and we'll dig just a little bit more into Design Plus. So the one thing that I did want to share, and let me get QA and stuff back now that I shared and everything went into different areas. But one of the things I wanted to show is with the key action items themselves, if I can remember which one I opened this in, even without opening up the sidebar, when you are actually editing the content, that little green button that was used to kind of show them on the saved content, if you open that when you're in the editor, you'll actually get this little pop out here where I can see what action items are available. So I can just kind of quickly work through and I can see, oh, there's some tasks I need to complete, or there's one of those inputs that I need to fill in with my own text. And so you can actually work your way down through those. And this just condenses all of those key action items into one area so that you can quickly move through them without necessarily needing to, be in the sidebar and clicking into each one. So that's just another fun piece that I thought I'd share there. But I really want to just kind of take a minute to talk about just some of the basics of working with Design Plus. So accessing Design Plus is done by clicking this little rocket ship that appears up in the top corner. There's also the ability at the institution level for you to hide that so that you can teach people a secret keyboard shortcut when you want them to start using it. But really the goal here is to simplify and enhance your ability to build content inside of Canvas. There's a lot of ways that you can get started. This involves things like picking a theme, which kind of sets the basic look and feel of the content. When you pick a theme, you'll also start out with what we call a banner title, and you can add things like a banner image or little navigation sections. You can pull in content blocks. So content blocks are ways that you can kind of group and organize content. You can build these at the institution level. We also have some that we've built to share for you. So you could take just and say, you know what, here are some common things that we need. So, you might want to add a specific section there, or maybe, at the institution, you need to talk about outcomes and objectives and readings. And this is really just a quick and easy way that you can add these pieces of content into the editor. Or I could come in and pull in, maybe one of these fun, let's go with a card here. I can drop in, this little cards section, and you can start to fill that out. Another way that you can start when it comes to building content or just in general adding to content is the ability to pull in templates. Now, these can be like, maybe like an overview module or like a home page. And so you can create and curate these at the institution level. There's also the ability to pull in templates that have been contributed by our City Labs community. So we have a Design Plus library where you can pull in, here's just some examples of some of the different template pages that have been shared that you can easily pull in. So you have full pages. We have institutions who have also shared like specific content blocks that they've built that you can add into pages along the way. We have people who've developed their own themes, little snippets you can drop in. There's lots of different ways that content can be customized. So let me just kind of give you an idea of how I might start doing this. This is one of the tools that's part of Design Plus. This is our course building, course scaffolding tool. We call it the multi-tool. So let's say I want to start out in this course and I want to start building out some templates that I'm going to use. So I could say, all right, in each of my pages, I want to have, or each of my modules, I want to have an overview page. So I could go ahead and create that. And that's created a page called template and overview here inside this course. I could open it up. And it's just a blank canvas page at the moment, but I could either come in here and pull in a template. So that might be, this home page that has been created, or because I actually am in a template, if I turn on the Design Plus library, I can come in here and see any of the template pages that have been contributed in the library. So there's even a homepage section. So I could look through here, find the style that I like and go ahead and select it. And now that's become part of my page so that I can fill that out as that, particular page that I'm going to use. And you can do that in the multi-tool for assignments, discussions, pages, and classic quizzes. There was a question asked earlier about new quizzes. Canvas built new quizzes as an external LTI tool. So we don't have the ability to touch them yet. I keep poking and prodding them, hoping they'll give us that ability. If they do, we'll get in and make this functionality available in those new quizzes as well. But once I've got all of my templates set up, I can come over to the module builder and I can say, okay, for my course, I'm going to break it up in units and I need 5 units. And in each of these units, I'm going to have an overview page and I want to use that overview template that I just created. And so you can throw in the different types of content that you're going to use. Then you can generate the module list, which will duplicate that for however many modules you wanted to create. You can title things, rename things, rearrange things. And then when you're ready, you hit create and it builds those modules and all of that content out for you. So lots of different fun things you can do there. A couple of other things that you can play with. Let me come in here and I want to show you some of the fun new things that we've added recently. For any of you who are have seen Design Plus in the past, let's just show you a couple of fun new things. One of them is with the content blocks, that ability to categorize these as well as pull in the institutional blocks. But we've also added some fun things like working with columns. So we have a columns tool here. So if maybe I want to add some more columns, so I could come in and duplicate this one and get some more columns there, or I can rearrange them, or I can remove them, or I can change how they're going to break up on different screen sizes. So, if I say that I want this to be 3, it's going to be 3 on like a large screen, and then they'll drop down to 1 as the screen size changes. So they've got responsive behavior built into them. I could also come into our backgrounds tool. So here I am on, I don't even remember which card I'm on. Let's select this one so we know which one we're on. I could come change the color. So you have like some institutional colors that you can choose from that you could apply, or you can also pick, we've got just kind of some assorted colors in there. I can have fun playing with the shapes of some of these cards. I can, add some overlays and stuff like that to, if I want to add a gradient to that. I can also play with working with images. So I'm going to choose the background layer of these cards right here. And I'm going to say that I want those to be an image. I could then come into our image tool and I can look through my course for an image that I might want to use and apply that in there. And now I've got that as a fun background image. If I come back to the background tool, another thing that I like to do when I have an image as the background, if we come back to this kind of one of these card layers, I could actually choose a frosted glass look. So you can kind of see that through. And each of these have been built in such a way that they, will, if I'm working with a color, you can actually see the WCAG rating for those overlays to make sure that they have appropriate color contrast. Or if I've got this gradient overlay, this frosted glass, it's got that appropriate contrast as well. So there's a lot of fun things that you can do with that. Other things that to kind of point out, we do have our Design Plus library, as I mentioned, where you can find and share resources. Also, if you haven't gathered from what UTA shared, these are compatible with all the ways you can build and share content in Canvas. So that includes like templates and blueprint courses and even sharing to Commons. Now, when you do share to Commons, that's sharing all of the HTML. But if you don't have Design Plus, you're going to get the bland vanilla HTML with all of the content, but you may not get those different styles and those interactive pieces as well. Some of my other favorite things that you can add in the content we have the ability to drop in progress bars. These are visual ways to let students see where they are as they're working through a module, either kind of from start to end, how far through the module am I? You can duplicate the type of information that's visible in Canvas. These will also reflect like the completion requirements. So if I have met the requirements, I've viewed it, I've submitted it, I've scored so many points, whatever you've set in the module in Canvas, these will turn to check marks. These have a circle next to anything with a requirement, and it will turn to a check mark. I can see that some of these items are locked either for date or completion requirements, so it reflects all of those pieces as well. Another thing that I really love to do as far as helping students understand where they are in the course is to add what we call the module list. The module list, if I can read my alphabet correctly here, gives you a quick and easy way to provide links to your modules, and you can have that look and feel in a variety of different ways. But on the browser version of Canvas, we can also pull in the information about that module. So you could see as a student, oh, I should be on chapter 3, and here is all of my information for chapter 3. Or I could actually transform that list in the browser so that I can see, oh, here, I should be on chapter 3, but did I finish everything in chapter 2? Or maybe I want to know what's coming up in chapter 4. You have the ability, students have that ability to very quickly jump off and get to where they're going inside of the course. Yeah, lots of different things there, lots of fun things we can play with. When we choose something like, let's come back in and, apply our theme and add like a banner image. One of the other tools inside of Design Plus is this Upload Embed Image tool, which is a rich content editor LTI tool that you can use to pull images from your computer, images you already have in your course or user files in Canvas. Or we also have integrations with unsplash.com and pexels.com. So let's say I'm working on a biology course. These are Creative Commons zero licensed image libraries that you can search through and find an image that you might want to use. You can just directly upload it to Canvas this way if you want. You can use this to set the course image. This is what shows up on the dashboard for students. I could also, though, because I want to use this as a banner, I'm going to go ahead and crop this. And I like this 10:3 ratio for the banners that I add to my courses because it adds that nice image, but students don't have to scroll a long way to see it. So I can go ahead and crop that. I can change the file name, add appropriate alternative text, choose where I want this to go in my course, and then I can just send the request to Canvas to have that added in there, and it'll drop it in the editor. So lots of fun things that you can do with Design Plus. We just kind of barely scratched the surface. If you are interested in learning more, you can go to citylabs.com and request a demo, or reach out to us in chat and let us know, or any number of different ways. But with that, I want to make sure that we do have some time to answer some questions. And so before we get to that, just as far as some resources that are available, as UTA has mentioned, they're sharing their template course that they showed off. So great big thank you to them for that. City Labs, you can go to citylabs.com to learn about our different products, schedule a demo, see some little videos of how the different products and tools work, etc. And then, Jim, I'm going to hand it off to you just for a minute if you want to talk about the resources that you have available for QM.
Yeah, just thank you, Kenneth. I'll put the links to these in the chat, but we just have a few sort of resources that are available for everybody. So more of these schedules of these webinars, like these type of webinars, are on our free webinars page. I'll put the link in the chat in a second. We have an accessibility and usability resource site, which allows you to, you have questions about accessibility and usability. It's a site you can go to and access that information. If you're looking for additional help around design guides, although there's lots in the templates and elsewhere, we have a free Bridge to Quality course design guidelines, as well as our research library. And then a couple that are not free, but just some professional development offerings that are sort of falling around with accessibility and universal design for learning. So I'll put those in the chat, and then so you have those available to you as well.
Great. We do have some more City Labs events coming up. You know, if you're interested in any of our webinars, you can scan this QR code. We'll also drop that URL in chat. I think somebody has that ready to drop in. Here's some other events. We do have a webinar we're going to do next week where Kristen, who is one of the panelists helping answer some of your questions today, and myself are going to talk about homepages. What makes a good homepage and some of the fun things that you can do to help your students get off to a good start. We've got, you know, a demo with EDUCAUSE. We've got, you know, a variety of different webinars and other events. If you're going to be at InstructureCon, look us up, you know, OTC, ISTE. Keep an eye out for us, and we'd love to chat with you more. So, with that in mind, while I was sharing, I saw a lot of stuff happen in chat, but I wasn't able to keep up with it. But let's go ahead and take in any questions that you have. Kristen, or has anyone been kind of curating and keeping an eye on those that would?
Yeah, happy to help out here. So one of the things that we've seen a couple of questions about is just around what's available in the library, and then also sort of what does that look like to create a template, and can you go through how the template creation happens, connecting City Labs and what the UTA team was showing.
Yeah,
like
so
the master template.
So creating a template, like I said, you could use this. You could do it as a, you know, if you're creating a blueprint course in Canvas, that's a common way that people will build templates. Or Canvas just in general lets you create a course and you can mark it as the template that will get populated when a brand new course gets put in there. Or you can create any number of templates, and you can go to, you know, when you go to the settings of the course, and you can do the import course content. Any of those methods would work with a template that you'd built. So you could do the, you know, import a Canvas course and, you know, a Canvas export package, any of those ways that you can deliver, even just the copying from term to term. All this content flows and transitions over just like any other Canvas content. Just that sidebar helps with that look and feel and those dynamic interactions. Jess or Sarah, what method do you guys use for distributing those templates?
Yeah, we use a blueprint course, and someone also asked if there's any problems when the blueprint course gets pushed to the live courses and then a faculty member copies in an existing course. That's a good question, and it's one that we've accounted for. There's directions on the instructions for faculty that we have in that master template that tells them what they need to do to the course to make everything copy correctly. So they don't get duplicate pages or duplicate modules or anything like that. So that's how we deal with that. And it seems like it's going pretty well. I don't think we get too many complaints about it.
Great.
And we do have that on a schedule that we always coordinate with our support team that pushes the Canvas template into all courses. So before they actually do this, like, are you guys done fixing the template? Is there any edits? And we'd be like, yeah, go hold off. We're going to do this and this. And usually it's minor things that we want to make it perfect that we try to kind of hold off on. But it takes some communication between different team members and sometimes OIT to make sure that it's smooth sailing. But to Jess's point, we haven't had any issues, thankfully, in the past, I would say 2, 3, 5 times we synced it. So knock on wood.
We also had quite a few questions, Sarah and Jess, about what training is available to faculty in using design tools. If you want to comment on some of those options.
Yeah. So, I mean, City Labs has awesome support and an awesome Canvas course that tells you how to do pretty much anything you could ever want to do in Design Plus. So we also have a course for faculty about how to use Design Plus, but it's specific to things that faculty are doing and as they edit their pages. So let's say we use accordions on one page, we'll have a link to how to use accordions to make sure that they know how to use that. So it just goes page by page, basically saying all of the things that they might need to do. And then it just lets them loose basically into the City Labs guide. And again, that guide is really great and thorough. And then support's also awesome. They usually reply right away, especially Claire.
And
just
oh yeah, go ahead, Sarah.
I was just going to add one other thing is when we do have program level course designs, we do have and host a kickoff meeting for the program level, and usually we schedule different topics either on a weekly or bi-weekly, kind of like small workshops in our check-ins, and we do offer a session on how to for design tool. Either action items specifically or design plus in general, or anything that may be helpful for that specific program that they may want to use any feature of the design plus tool. So we usually have those kind of workshops / training available for that specific group only, in addition to what Jess has mentioned.
And then I also wanted to point out stuff that's built into the tools themselves. So every new user, when they first open, has the opportunity to take a walkthrough that shows them how the sidebar is set up, what the different panels are, how they work. When you're working with content in general, so this edit section really just populates based on what tool you're working with. And each of these tools have little built-in walkthroughs. So if I want to learn how to use a theme, I can go ahead and take a walkthrough of how that theme tool works. They also have these little info section where I could go out to the City Labs user guide and learn how themes are set up and how to work with those and additional resources, including like training videos and pieces like that. We also have in our help section the ability to pull in tutorials. So at City Labs, we have created a variety of tutorials. So let's say that I want to learn about building accordions. Oh, sorry, I turned off my keyboard when my cat walked by and forgot to turn it back on. So I could come in here and I can say, all right, oh, here's a great tutorial about how to, build these different pieces. I can go ahead and start that. What it does is it just drops content right into the editor that I can follow along with and interact with in order to create those and work with them. And then when I'm done, I can remove that from the content. And so we've got a lot of those different pieces built in. We do also even have a series of training videos that are available that you can even subscribe to through your email. So you can go fill in a form, and then every day or two, it'll send you a little email with a little video to teach you something new about how to use the sidebar. So there are a lot of options. And then we do also, City Labs provides some live train the trainer trainings. So these you get with our training coordinator, and you can ask questions, and we talk about all the resources and stuff that are available to help you when it comes to training your faculty.
And I see there is another question about how long did it take us to develop the template and get the process in place. I would say it took us, I want to say maybe about 2 months or so, and really not the actual building of the template, but rather the testing and discussing it and revisiting some of the items that we added. And I was like, no, we don't like this, we like that. So it's really very quick process, as Kenneth has showed. I mean, it's really dropping in. It just that should we use an Guardian here and colors and images, and it's very tempting. And we try to kind of focus on, no, this is going to be pushed to all courses, face-to-face, online, hybrid, or kind of modalities. So let's keep it simple. Let's keep it straightforward. And does it is there a learning process for faculty? I think that was another question. I would say yes, and this is depends on the utilization of the items that you use in, for example, key action items. We had to fix based on test and error some of those things, and I'll be very honest and transparent. We did not want to share that, but I'll go ahead and share it. I think last semester or the semester before, we did add a log, which is an option in one of the key action item fill in field, the yellow one with the highlighted yellow. You can lock it so you can force faculty to add the information there. And our faculty were not happy, and they got frustrated because it's logged. we provided instructions, we provided a video, we provided all type of instructions, but they just saw the highlight, they wanted to click in and type and or click the action item and type. So we saw the frustration, we removed it. So we kept it as, just type in your answer there or fill in your input form. So those things sometimes you just have to kind of learn as you go and see what works for your institution.
Yeah, there's a lot you have to know your audience when it comes to a lot of this and who's going to be using it.
Well, I know we're at the top of the hour, and so I want to say thank you, Jessica and Sarah from UTA. Thank you, Kenneth from City Labs. Thank everybody behind the scenes who has been answering a lot of the diligent questions as they have come in. Sarah, Ethan, Kristen, and Diane. I think Diane had to leave. So I will thank you guys very much, and have a great rest of the day. Anyone, any last words?
No, thanks for coming.
All right. Thank you, guys.